Hello and welcome to this video. Let us see what kind of question will appear in this video. Try to understand the question and answer it. The question is, you have 10 nodes with 500 GB of disk attached to each node. Let us say that the node disk space reaches 85% utilization. Then the pod we have deployed should get evicted and get redeployed on a node with a better disk health. Explain us if this can be done. Obviously, this looks like a follow-up question from an earlier Kubernetes question. We can assume here that you have a 10 node cluster, that is the Kubernetes cluster, and each node has 500 GB of disk space attached. Let us say that the disk utilization reaches 85%, then the pod should be evicted out of this particular node. Automatically, because of this, pod will be deployed on a different node. Can this be even done? If yes, where can it be done? Now that we have understood the question, let us try to visualize this now. So we have, let us say, node 1, and then we have node 2. There are two pods running here. Let us say the disk utilization crosses 85%. So what will happen if it reaches 100%, let us say? Then all the pods should be evicted automatically. So we will lose this node completely. We don't want to really lose this particular node. Rather, when the disk utilization reaches 85%, we want to, let's say, evict a few pods from this particular node. Because of the nature of the deployment in Kubernetes, this pod automatically will get deployed in the node 2. But how can we achieve this particular eviction? Can this be done? So the answer is yes, it can be done. And the term is basically called as eviction of the pods. So this eviction setting is a kubelet command that is applied at the node level and not at the pod level. And we have to remember this. This particular setting is applied on a node level and not at the pod level. Okay. When you configure this eviction threshold on the kubelet, it monitors the overall utilization of the particular node. So the prominence here is given to the nodes. So rather than losing the nodes completely, we're trying to somehow monitor the health of this node. And when it reaches a threshold, we're like pushing out some pods. Okay. Now, how do we decide which pod should be evicted? Now, the kubelet uses an internal algorithm to determine which pods to evict. This decision is based on the quality of the service, or also known as QoS, classification of the pods. Now, what is this QoS, classification of the pods, etc.? This could be another question by itself, but this is how basically the pod eviction could be done. Now, how would the eviction process basically look like? What would happen is the pods selected for eviction are gracefully terminated based on their configured termination period in seconds. Okay. And if the pod doesn't shut down, after that, it will be forcibly terminated. Once the pod is evicted, the resource they are consuming are reclaimed by the node, ideally bringing the resource below the configured threshold. So this is how it can be achieved. The whole terminology that they are expecting you to answer in this particular interview is the eviction, and it is a node setting and not a pod setting, and it can be done using the kubelet itself. How would the whole configuration look like for a particular node? This is how it would look. This is a very sample configuration. So we have the host name that will get the node name basically. But the important configuration that we want to speak is the eviction hard and eviction soft. What it is telling here is if the memory available is 500 MB, that is less than 500 MB, and the node FS availability is less than 10%, the inode is less than 5%, and the image FS, that is the place where we would keep the Docker images, is less than 15%, then this would be a hard eviction. Also, if you've configured the soft eviction. There is also eviction, the soft grace period allowed, but this is an optional configuration if you would want to or not. But as part of this particular interview question, eviction hard and eviction soft is what we want to focus on. Perfect. Now that we have understood the question and also the terminologies and the concept around it, Let me try to answer this question if this appear in the interview. Based on the question, I am assuming that we want to focus on saving the particular node when it reaches a threshold of disk utilization. And this can be achieved using the kubelet itself. And this is a node level configuration that we have to do. And this particular parameter, from what I can remember, is called as eviction halt and eviction soft. Here we can configure the eviction. Here we can configure the eviction threshold that is based on memory available, the inode available, etc. And the process should look something like this. When the node has a very high disk utilization, based on the QoS method, it is going to select particular pods that it will evict. And once it has decided the pod that it will evict, what will happen is the termination is sent to these pods and they'll try to shut down this gracefully. If it is not possible, then they will be terminated by force. What will happen is all the resources utilized by these pods will be freed, and we should not have this problem on this particular node. Needless to say, this can again occur. So it is always recommended to send out alerts irrespective of this particular configuration. So this can be debugged further. One of these cases could be that we have made a recent deployment and the pod has a very high disk utilization. And this could actually mean that it is harming the node. And not only that, it is also harming the other pods running on this particular node. Well, that is it for this particular video. Speak with you in the next video. Thank you.